Hello and welcome to Qsports. I'm Umudu Gajaga and thank you for joining us. Coming up, the Gambia national team, the Scorpions, hope of qualifying for the World Cup 2026 in Mexico, United States of America and Canada is certainly but over after they lost to Cote d'Ivoire by 1-0 on Monday in March day 6 of the African World Cup qualifiers. And the Gambia team, we would do a post-match review of the game, what happened, what went wrong and what went right. And also, we'll be looking at another story. A Gambian international player who has always been part of the national team until recently, Noha Sanko Sunbird, made a shocking revelation of quitting the national team, not being part of it anymore, unless and until organizational aspect of the national team is fixed, from players' travel to the issue of allowances and also the whole organizational setup. He said he has quit the national team and we will get into the details of that. We'll also be looking at the story of Sadio Balde, female sports photographer in the Gambia, one of the first, but the shining light when it comes to sports photography in the industry. We'll be looking at her story later in the show. But first, let's talk about the Gambia's 1-0 defeat to Cote d'Ivoire away. The game was played in Abidjan. The stadium was full to its rafters, and the performance, everything that you need to know about the game. First, in the match report. Ivory Coast extended their lead at the top of the group with a hard-fought 1-0 victory over the Gambia. The victory brought their points tally to 16, giving them a 1-point advantage over Gabon and ending Gambia's hopes of qualifying for their first World Cup. The decisive moment came in the 15th minute of the game when Sebastian Haller scored the only goal of the match. Simon Adingra provided a perfect assist, setting up Haller, who calmly slotted his header past the Gambian goalkeeper Ibrahima Jaju to give Ivory Coast the lead. Despite both teams pushing for more goals in the second half, Ivory Coast looking to extend their lead and Gambia searching for an equalizer, the match remained scoreless. After the break, strong defensive performances from both sides kept the scoreline intact until the final whistle. However, Gambia improved in the second half, creating at least 3 clear goal-scoring chances, but failed to capitalize. 2 of those opportunities fell to Aliou Fadera, who was unable to convert on either occasion. Coach Jonathan McKinstry responded to the defeat.
I think today is one of those games where you realize football is not always fair. We played a good game, and we played a very good game. We created a lot of chances, and that's where we fell down. We didn't convert the chances. The Ivorian goalkeeper has done very well. The defenders have done very well in terms of last-ditch emergency defending. But we had 5 or 6 really good chances. So it's one of those games. I think had we drawn or won the game, I don't think anyone could have complained. I think it's probably been a very long time since the supporters or the media here have seen a team come to Abidjan and play like that against Cote d'Ivoire. So, yeah, we're very disappointed. We thought we had a very good game, but we need to score the chances when we get.
With this crucial victory, Ivory Coast reaffirmed their dominance in the group, moving closer to securing qualification. The Elephants now turn their focus to the upcoming fixtures, determined to maintain their top spot. Meanwhile, the Gambia remains on just 4 points from 6 matches, with 4 games to go. With 4 matches to go for the qualifiers, that's just 12 points to play for, plus the 4 points that the Gambia have. Currently, even if we win all our 4 remaining matches, it wouldn't count for much because Cote d'Ivoire currently have 16 points, Gabon 15 points, and Burundi, third place, have 10 points, Kenya 6 points, Gambia 4 points, and rock bottom is Seychelles. Maybe the Gambia would just be playing in the World Cup qualifiers, the remaining matches, just to consolidate their position in terms of rankings, because if you win, you gain match points. So the FIFA World Rankings that is going to be released monthly is good for your qualification when it comes to the draw that is going to be made for both the Africa Cup of Nations and the FIFA World Cup qualifiers. The lower ranking teams are seeded the lowest, and the top seeds, obviously, are the top countries who would benefit because of their pedigree in international football. Well, but to dissect about the game, what happened, what went wrong, and what went right, because it's a game of two halves. The first half, Ivory Coast were utterly dominant. And the second half, especially the latter part of it, Gambia were still in it, but almost certainly sucked themselves on the foot because of the missed opportunities in the game. And I engage Pascal Njai, former footballer, now coach in Oslo, Norway. He's a youth coach. And this is his assessment.
My feelings about the game is I'm disappointed with the game approach concerning the tactical aspect of the game. Basically, what I saw in the first half, as a coach, we coaches, what we normally do that people wouldn't recognize or aware of is, for example, the first 45 minutes, we divide it's in a tactical way. Divide the first 15 minutes, what are you going to do? After the 15 minutes, the 10-minute, what are you going to do? So on and so on. But basically, from what I saw in the first half, I think Cote d'Ivoire approach, their game approach was executed very good, because in the first 10 minutes, what they wanted was just to come on us and then try to have an early goal. Whereas from what I saw, we were laying back not to play, and then we were just waiting to defend. When we lose the ball, I saw that we were having 5-4-1. That's what we were playing. And it's definitely not a good way of playing in a game, whereas you need a win to be part of the participation, to be part of the competition again, So, the first half was not something that I liked when I saw it. And then based on the game in the first half as well, what the way we were playing, when we have the ball, it is urgency is needed, but it's not applied, and then again, when we lose the ball, we open up instead of closing up. The Ivorians usually do some penetration passes, passing between the lines. Our standings were not accurate the way we have to stand when we lose the ball. It's all come to lack of communications as well. Communication was lacking in the midfield as well, and then we wanted to win. And then I was disappointed when I saw that we play with the two holding midfielders. So it's just, I don't know what was wrong today with the coach, with his tactic, but I think he would have helped us because we have the material. We have the material to hold Ivory Coast. And then Gajaga, it's like I said, when you invited me in Gambia on QTV, I told you there are certain games that you need to have pace, power, perfection, and imperfectibility. These are the kind of things that you will need to have, like when urgency is needed, certain games. And then...
Yeah, Pascal, if I can just jump in here. I've seen it in the first half. There was a situation where Musa Barrow got a foul. He already wins the foul, but we are 1-0 down. Instead of him getting up quickly to get a fast play, he was lying down on the ground. And then, the Ivorian player had to give him a hand to kind of lift him up. In those kind of situations, I think a sense of urgency that is needed, especially for an experienced player in the team.
Exactly. That is what I was saying. Urgency, it was needed at the moment when we lose when we are losing 1-0. Well, before we lose 1-0, we could have learned from the other game that we know that this time around, what has happened, we will not let it repeat. Moreover, taking an early goal. Like I said, the communication, how to regroup ourselves when we lose the ball was one of the key factors that we lacked. Because when we lose the ball, it takes some time to regroup. That's why you can see the Ivorians were knocking the ball from one point to another. And we were holding way back. You know, if we wanted to fight back, we would have pressed them in their zone so that to force them to make mistakes in their own court, not to let them come and make mistakes in our court. It will take time for us to get into their court.
And if I can just jump in here again, give me a second. When it comes to that pressing aspect of it, if the Gambia loses possession, whether it is in the opposition box or it is close to their goal area, you see players standing flat-footed. You see 2, 3 players, you know, doing the press, and the rest of the players just standing ball watching. You just can't imagine at this stage of international football. You said you're a professional footballer. You cannot do that in your club. Because if you do, the coach is going to substitute you. Next time, you're not going to be part of the 18-man squad. Talk less of even making the 11.
Well, then again, Gajaga, I can tell you this. We were lacking strength in our left side in terms of defending. Because as you can see, the Ivorian, their operational zone was always on the left side. Because I think Aliou Fadera, his work rate defensively
absolutely
was
poor.
Very, very, very poor today. And then I don't know what was wrong with him. I don't know if he have heavy legs from the last game. I don't know, but he's a top-level professional playing a high-level league. You know, I think he should have learned, because Ivory Coast, if you can count, they have like almost 7 attacks that has come from the left side. As you can see, the goal was coming from the left side, and then it transit to the right. So all their strength was based on the left side of the game. I mean, it was very disappointing that the coach was seeing that, and he wouldn't make any effort of helping us to bring a sharp player. You see, when we come into the second half, when he brought Abdullahi, we needed a player who was fast, to able to cover up and to able to fight and retrieve, so that we can be regrouping whenever we lose the ball. It changes when we have the opportunity to bring that boy on the left side, so that he can be. He was putting pressure on them as well. But
is it
later
situation of okay, wait until when they hit you and then you start reacting? I think football is about okay, taking your chances. If you have opportunities, maybe you go up front. Yes, Cote d'Ivoire are playing home. They are the team in this group, obviously, that everyone is eyeing for a World Cup qualification spot as the AFCON champions. Yes, you would expect them to go on the front foot. But what is wrong with the Gambia? Immediately, they consider goal to react. Why wait until in the second half? Because what they played in the second half, if that was the case in the first half, maybe we would have been talking about something else. Because at least in terms of results, they deserve at least a draw in this game. But you only deserve that if you put the ball at the back of the net, which we are going to talk about next. Scoring opportunities.
Yeah.
In the entire qualification of the World Cup qualifiers, even before the World Cup qualifiers, we've seen this time and time again. In the Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers recently ended that we failed to qualify, the chances were begging in every game. Against Tunisia, against Comoros, against Madagascar. You just can't imagine, but most of the time wasteful. Today is even worse. I just can't imagine if a player gets a one-on-one situation 2-3 times and then you just fail to execute it.
Well, Gajaga, I will tell you this. The best team that can attack is the best team that can defend. And defending, defending, it's all about communication. Football is all about communication in terms of defending. So we lack, the reason why we lost the other game is the same reason why we lose today. Because lack of communication from our back, from the defense line, was one of the key problems that we have. If you see today, Ibo Adams, he did his almost best, fighting everywhere, running everywhere in the midfield. But he can't do it alone. In the end, he started having heavy legs. When he has the ball, it was unfortunate that when he has the ball in the end, he was not having the energy to make the passes that he is supposed to do. Because what he was doing in the midfield, He's an experienced player. He did exactly what he has to do. But the problem was he was not having help. And then when we get the ball from the midfield, we were lacking a creator, somebody who's like a schemer, somebody who creates and give passes to our dangerous players like Musa and Yankuba. But you can see that when Yankuba has the ball, he wants to drive, but he will have two players in front of him because they know his strength. So when we have the ball on the left side, Musa will want to make a switch, a long switch. But you can see when the time that the ball is going to use to travel to Yankuba, then the Ivorian will have their defenders stand on that position to wait for Yankuba. So these are the kind of things that we were having problem in the game. And then again, if we're told we were having somebody who is like this, like Jamano or somebody who can get the ball from the midfield and create and place the ball into the penetration passes between the lines, that is what we were lacking as well. Because you cannot have a goal by providing the ball, long balls up. The moment the ball hits up, they will have a time to retrieve back and then position themselves and wait for the one who's going to have the ball to come up on them. So that's why you can see that Minte don't have a room to operate. Musa don't have a room to operate.
Does Minte also have something in his head that under pressure that he has to deliver, he almost certainly wants to do things on his own? Yes, he's good with his pace. He's a good dribbler in the box, especially when it comes to the cutback. Even towards the end of the game, he has something like that where he cut in between two Ivorian players, but eventually maybe laying a pass or somehow, but he lost position, fell into the box. He thinks the referee is going to give him a penalty. Nobody's going to give that as a penalty. But does he overdo things sometimes in terms of, doing the running at the same time, doing the dribble when he could pass? Is it because we don't have the numbers in the box? That is what puts him in the pressure of trying to dribble past everybody.
Oh, well, that's absolutely right. The problem is, big players like him, there are certain situations in the game, they will want to take responsibilities. They will want to take responsibilities to do what they have inside of them. But unfortunately for him, today, the Ivorians were smart. They will always put 2 or 3 players where he has to cut into the left because he was playing in the right. They knew that he's a left-footed. Whatever he's dangerous when he goes by and then try to cut to the left foot, that's where they put a man always for him not to have the shot. But in that aspect, if at all we were having somebody who was playing like a number 10, an offensive mid player that is very creative, could have made it easier for him by passing the ball between the lines, and then he can have the ball where he wanted. But the problem is today he wanted to take the responsibility. He was frustrated. You can see it in him. In the end, he wanted to do something that will at least give him a relief. But we were playing without a number 9 today, and that is very serious because you cannot play. Musa was just running in the air. Musa was lost, and then this number 2, I don't know his name. This boy.
The number 2 is Mahmoud Bajo.
Yes, Mahmoud Bajo.
Yeah, in midfield. Yeah.
You can see that Ibu Adams was not an offensive player, but he was trying to get the ball to the strikers because he's an experienced player. He knows that what knocking the ball around there will not give us any result. But my problem was today, why were we always, when we get frustrated, we play in long balls? We were lack of patience. We were not doing.
Let's talk about the second half when we had back full of chances. I could say at least 2, 3, maybe 4 clinical chances, but 3 of them most certainly were clear-cut chances that we should have bettered. What happens for a coach in that situation? Can coaches change that kind of situation, or is it the players who need to have a cool head, be calm and composed in front of goal?
Well. Let me take it like this. when the first half ended, I think I always said, Gambia, our technical side, we need somebody to be taking statistics of the game.
I think they do. Well, I'm just assuming. I think, somebody does that.
No, last game, I saw the coach taking his own book, taking notes.
Whereas coaches do that. So sometimes they take notes about certain things, or you think it's somebody's responsibility who should be doing that?
There must be a statistic taker in the game. There must be a statistic taker in the game, so that it will help what the coach has observed and the statistic taker what he has observed, and let it combine together and fix the problem. But today's game, what I saw was when Abdullah came to the game.
Yes. Cisse, is it Abdullah Sanyan in the second half? Yeah.
That's when that's the time we started having something like some chances, because he was using his strength by running, but he was playing in the left. He will not cut back. He will use his strength to go all the way and try to get the ball out for the strikers. But who are the smart players? We don't have striker that will stand in a place of execution. He will run all the way, but when he runs, Yankuba is at the back. Musa is going all the way in. Who is the striker that is going to stand on a finishing position? These are one of the things that we were lacking as well. And he did absolutely well when he was running, getting the ball into the final tag. But who is there to execute? Who is there to execute? Hadn't it been that he have somebody that's going to make the runs for him. We don't have strikers today. And then we could have, can you imagine when the first half, we didn't even have we only have one shot. That was when Yankuba shot it with his right foot when he was about to cross. Then the keeper pounded out.
Pounded out, yes. That was the only
that's the only
shot on
thing
goal
that
you can talk about in the first half. Yeah.
That's the only thing that we have in the first half. But in the second half, at least when this boy came, he took some notes from the coach and he executed what he has told him to do. But our main problem was our midfield. Who is going to get the ball to the strikers? If the offensive players are not having the ball, who is going to pass them? These are one of the main problems that we were facing. But why are we not putting the players into their right positions? Why? The Ivorians are very strong, they're very physical, but we needed a striker that was physical to come and disturb them as well in the defense. But you can see it in their defense line. They were just, even to head the ball, they know what to do. They would just drop the ball for the other person to get it because they were not having pressure. We needed somebody who has some physical abilities that can come and defend them as well and disturb them. The defenders were not having pressure.
For the World Cup qualification, I know certainly our hopes of qualification is over. But is this qualification round something? Are there positives that we can learn from this game in terms of team building? Yes, the coach talks about getting the team better in terms of shape and how he wants to play. I think now he has more than enough time to play his style of play, to get the players in his team. But also, I want to know if he should keep changing the team every now and then. Should he have a team where you can say, certainly, in every game, these are the players who will be the core of the team. At least 8 or 9 of the players would be in the starting 11. Is that how you build a team?
Well, I mean, that's part of it. What I could say about that is he needs to identify the players that are playing in the top level first, just like every other country is doing, the league as well, because then he can introduce his methodology to them. But changing players every week in, week out, it's a national team thing. But I mean, Gambia has over 200 professionals.
Yeah.
But check the level of players. Which countries are they playing? Which league? Those leagues are the players that are playing in the top leagues, top 5 leagues or top 10 leagues, like I can say, because Gambia we have players everywhere. We have few in the top 5 leagues, But try to identify these players, because these players are playing with high level intensity. So when you bring them and then the other players that you're going to select and then put them together, you build them together how you want them to play. For example, when I was a big fan when he just came and I said that I like his methodology, but I don't know what was wrong today and then the last game, because he lost it. I could say, I don't know, he lost it, or I don't know, he feel uncomfortable with the players that he was having. Because like I told you today, the goalkeeper, our goalkeeper, in the first half, he has did some long balls, almost 8 long balls that were not accurate to any of the players, because the Ivory
coming back.
Yes, it kept coming back, and then that was not helping us. We have the materials to knock the ball. We have the caliber players to knock the ball. We have to create triangular space and try to create space to pass the ball where we want the ball. Because Gajaga, in football, the pitch is much bigger now compared to before. What I mean by that is, before the play, when the goalkeeper has to play the ball, it starts from the outs of the 18. But now the play starts inside the 18 yards.
Yeah, that's why the goalkeepers need to have a good feet to start play from the defense.
Exactly. So the goalkeeper being part of the game, playing, means like the striker, they can outplay the striker. If he's fit, he's good with his foot, we can outplay the strikers. But today you can see we were just having the ball and then we're just making long balls as if we were not comfortable with our back three to get the ball from with their feet. These are one of the things that was happening that gives us much more pressure, because the team that holds the ball, maintains the ball, have bigger chances than scoring.
That was Pascal Njai talking about the Gambia national team's game against Cote d'Ivoire on Monday, where we lost by 1-0 and all our qualification hopes completely dashed, because we're no longer going to qualify. Even a miracle wouldn't make us to qualify, because the maximum points that the Gambia can get in that group with 4 more games to go is 16 points. Currently 4 points, 4 games to go. That's 12 if you win all 4 games. And we are going to play against Kenya. We'll be playing against Burundi. We'll also be playing against Gabon. We'll be playing against Seychelles, because it's over between us and Cote d'Ivoire. We played both legs home and away. First leg, 2-0. Second leg, inside Abidjan, 1-0. We lost to them. So some of the problems that the team had on that night in terms of possession and also goalkeeping department, defenders, and things like that. Well, from that discussion with Pascal Njai, we will go for a short break, and when we come back, we'll open the phone lines for you to have your say. How do you assess the Gambia's national team? How do we play, especially under Coach Jonathan McKinstry? Is it time to ask questions about results? How about the previous game that we played against Kenya, where we were 2-0 up and eventually the game ended 3-3? All that just after the break.
QMoney is back again with its easy-to-use, secure and convenient mobile app that allows you to carry out all your transactions. No matter where you are or what time it is, you can always access your funds. With the new QMoney app, you can cash in and out, buy credit, buy QPower, shop, make payments, and so much more. You can also send QMoney, pay bills, receive international remittances, and transfer cash to others. Just download the app from your Play Store or App Store and get started. For more information, call customer care on 133. QMoney, Sinu Calpe. We innovate, others follow. QCell's Q Prayer and Q Ramadan service reminds you of your 5 daily prayer times and the start and end times for your fast. Simply send prayer to 331 to be reminded of the 5 daily prayer times. Send Ramadan or fast to 332 to be notified of the start and iftar time of fasting on a daily basis. QCell wishes you all a blessed Ramadan. We innovate, others follow.
Welcome back and thank you very much if you're joining us. This is Qsports and I'm Mamudu Gajaga. We're talking about the Gambia's national team, the Scorpions, performance in the World Cup qualifiers. Previously, we didn't make it to AFCON and it was under Jonathan McKinstry. When it comes to the qualifiers, we played 6 matches, scored 6 goals and conceded 6 goals in the AFCON qualifiers for Morocco. And now the World Cup qualifiers under Jonathan McKinstry, his first game was against Seychelles. The Gambia won by 5-1. We later played against Gabon, lost to Gabon inside Libreville by 3-2. And that was also a game that the Gambia scored first. Gabon equalized, the Gambia scored again. Gabon equalized, and then eventually we lost by 3-2. And now he played against Kenya. We almost feels like a defeat because it was 36 seconds before the end of the game that Kenya equalized, made it 3-3, and now against Cote d'Ivoire by 1-0. If you want to have your say to join this discussion, what's your assessment of the team, the coach, and what do you hope for the future as far as the Gambia national team is concerned, the Scorpions? The number is up there and is 5050505 or 5050505. That's the number if you. And the numbers are there, the other numbers if you want to talk to us. That's the number if you want to join this discussion on Qsports. And just before we get our first caller, let's go with the story of Nuha Sonko. Nuha Sonko is a defender for the Gambia national team. He's been one of the most consistent players in recent times. And in a stunning turn of events, it reads from a story first by Gamfoot Transfers and then later on the Alcamba Times. In a stunning turn of events, Gambia's standout defender Nuha Sonko Sandberg has announced his departure from the national team, leaving fans and analysts reeling. The 28-year-old, widely regarded as the Scorpions' most consistent performer this season, dropped the bombshell on March 28, 2025, citing unprofessional management and life-threatening conditions as his reasons for walking away of the national team. Well, he went further. He said, and this is a quote, "I am done with the Gambia national team," Sonko declared in an explosive statement. "Those in charge are unprofessional and not structured. One day before a game, we could travel 18 hours. It's just words. It doesn't exist. They hire a very old flight and we nearly risk our lives. I am not putting my life at risk anymore for such." And this happened during the Gambia's campaign of the Cote d'Ivoire Africa Cup of Nations in January last year in 2024. Just as the team departed the airport, it was later realized that the plane had an issue of air conditioning, and those who were inside the plane, the players and officials, could barely breathe, and the plane had to make an emergency landing back to the airport. So that was the incident he is referring to, and also when it comes to travel arrangements. The story went further, says Sonko's grievances painted a troubling picture of disarray within the Gambian football setup. The defender, who has been a rock at the back for both club and country, didn't hold back in slamming the federation's lack of organization and disregard for player safety. His reference to is a perilous journey on an outdated plane that has raised serious questions about the team's logistics and priorities. For the Scorpions, losing Sonko is a devastating blow. His consistency and leadership have been vital in their defensive line, and his exit could jeopardize Gambia's ambition in the upcoming international fixtures. according to the story, well, fans have already taken to social media to voice their frustrations, with many echoing Sanko's concerns about the state of football administration in the country. Ends the statement, and also the story. This was first published by Gamfoot Transfers and later on the Alcamba Times. So that's the story. Very, very deepening and troubling, and also sad if you have one of the most consistent defenders of your national team who says he's quitting the team because of lack of proper organization and structure, and he slammed the football organizers, that's the Football Federation, for lurking certain things in terms of organization and logistical arrangements, late travel to games and things like that. Well, that's Noah Sonko. And what do you make of that story as well? The phone line is open if you want to join me in this discussion, and you can have your conversation. We're talking about the Gambia national team, and you've just heard the story of Noah Sonko Sandbad concerning some of the arrangements and the reason why he is quitting the national team. And this has been a player who's been part of the Gambia setup. He was part of the last AFCON. He's been part of qualifiers. If you have your say, the numbers are there for you to have your say. Still on the Gambia national team, now the World Cup qualifiers would continue in June. There will be matches also in September. There will be matches in October or the November window as well for the campaign to continue, because they have to honor the fixtures that are remaining, the 4 games that are remaining in the World Cup qualifiers. We have our first caller. Hello.
Yes, hello.
What's your name and where are you calling from?
Yeah, my name is Omar. I'm calling from Bruceville.
All right, Omar, what's your thoughts about the national team?
Yes, it's pertaining to Noha Sidu. Noha.
Yes, go ahead.
Who created the
national team.
But,
Yeah.
yes, I'm in line with him, with his regime. Yes, really, I support this idea. Yeah.
Okay.
The way they travel was very risk. So at the end of the day, what was they are compensated? Nothing. So let them, look into this mathematics game and support them. They are really in need.
Okay. All right, thank you. Yeah, that's a caller who said he's in agreement with Noah's decision, because those risks which we're taking, things that happened which unfolded, nearly led to a lot of things. And this statement even went further later on to talk about the earthquake that happened in Morocco, when just a day before they played against Congo, Brazzaville, for the last game of qualifiers, where Congo scored 2 goals and the Gambia equalized. And 2-2 it ended. That gave the Gambia a point, which they needed badly to qualify for the last Africa Cup of Nations in Cote d'Ivoire. So he cited that incident, and also the issue of match bonuses, where incidences players have been owed, not being paid, or promises were made to pay the players a certain amount of money which were not fulfilled. He cited all that also in the latter part of the statement. That's Noah Sonko for you. Well, we have another caller. Hello.
Hello, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Mahmoud.
Naam.
I really appreciate these boys because if you look at the team, we are struggling a lot, even the stadium. So still now it is not done, and they are telling us that it will be done this week. So it is a very problem. So what this boy did, very good. If you look at our traveling, when we are traveling to, I don't know, I forget the place where they are traveling. So it is a lot of difficulties that they are facing. So what Noah did, so I think Scottish players also might that also, they are tired. They are playing for the country, but JFS are not supporting them. Even to pay them is somehow difficult. So that's what I have to say. So I pray for the Gambia, our sport, to go forward. We have many youths who are coming up. So if basically Noah Sonko is doing that, some will say that I will not rise. I will go and play for Senegal. Some will say I will go and play for Morocco. You understand that? So this is what we are facing. So Jesus need to take action of it. If they don't take action of it, it's going to affect our sport. So this is what I have.
All right, thank you very much for the call.
Okay.
Appreciate it. That caller also sympathized with Noah with the decision that he made to quit the national team. The Scorpions, Noah Sanko Sambad, standout defender who has been part of the Gambia's national team setup at least in the last 4-5 years, if you like. This is a defender who says now he's not going to play for the Gambia unless things are put right. Yes, another caller. Hello.
Hello, Ejaga.
Yes.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. What's your name and where are you calling from?
I'm Alman. I'm calling from Brikama.
Okay, Almami, what's your thoughts about the game or the
Yeah,
Gambians?
I'm also in support of Noah's decision because the Gambians, we miss seeing the boys playing in the country here. And traveling from your country to another country, home advantage, as you know, and financially, they've been struggling a lot. So definitely, I'm supporting the motion of Noah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
That's another caller talking about he's in support of Noah's decision. But what kind of void will he leave in the team? Because if you have a defender who is as good as Noah is and has been consistent for the national team and saying he's not going to be part of the team unless things are put right, things are fixed as soon as possible. That's the situation. Already, we're out of the Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers for Morocco. We didn't qualify. World Cup qualifiers currently ongoing. 6 matches played, 4 more to go. It's only the group winners who will qualify. Gambia is in Group F alongside the current leaders, Cote d'Ivoire, Gabon, Kenya, Burundi, and Seychelles. Another caller, hello.
Hello?
Hello, just listen to us on the telephone and turn down the volume of your TV. Hello, you can't be listening to yourself. Yes, hello. What's your name and where are you calling from? All right. We've lost that caller. But we are talking about the Gambia national team. What's the future? What's your assessment of the coach? The matches that we've played so far, what are they good, the bad, and the ugly? If you like, share it us on this platform in the next few minutes. The Gambia's World Cup hopes dashed completely. So many other people say that, in fact, from the get-go, we had no chance in this group when it comes to the World Cup qualifiers. But I think the performance of the pitch has shown completely different. We have another caller. Well, that's it for Qsports today, and thank you very much for watching. Join us next week at the same time, and we say Eid Mubarak in advance. Thank you. Have a pleasant day. Bye.